This is Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today that this will be like a vitamin or a supplement for your mind and heart. And please, wherever you receive podcasts from, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom? Leave a rating and a brief written review. It will enable other excellent people just like you to be able to locate this podcast. I want to talk to you today about a university that I have taken many classes, undergraduate and graduate from, and it has changed my life. It's the University of Hard Knocks. It's the University of Falling Down. It's the University of, man, that did not work. It's the University of pick myself up, dust myself off, and keep moving. Every one of us have had times where things didn't work out exactly according to the plan. I love planning meetings, I really do. But oftentimes now, as I reflect over the years of my life, very rarely did the end product look exactly like what was on the drawing board in the initial stages of the planning. And it is not very often that life works out just exactly as you planned it. As Michael Tyson, the boxer, said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. All of us have a plan when we're sitting in a climate-controlled room with all of our equipment, and we're all dreaming and we're all planning. Now, don't hear me saying that I throw planning out the window, just go for it. That's not true. You have to plan. But what I'm trying to help us to see is rarely, if ever, will there not need to be times of adjustment, recalibration, and even at times we have to kind of start over because we've learned valuable lessons that we could not have known, or that at least we did not know back when we were making plan. Therefore, never get married to your plans, get married to results. You are not there where you're working. You do not receive a paycheck, or you don't even work as a volunteer just because of what you know or what you think is a good idea. You are there because you get results, you get things done, you accomplish something. And oftentimes there will need to be mid-course corrections. We'll have more information than what we had when we started. And what I'm saying to you really could be boiled down to one word, and that word is flexibility. Don't become rigid in your understanding, and because you believe your reputation is staked upon it. Therefore, I have put a lot of capital into this. I have put a lot of my leadership chips on the table, and therefore to admit it's not working perfectly, it's not going according to plans, would be perceived by others that I'm not a wise leader. Remember, a wise person changes their mind, but a fool never does. It is only a fool who says, even though everything is telling me that what we thought would happen isn't going to happen, I'm going to pretend and act like it is. And I can't tell you how often I have encountered that, and you just cringe. Everyone else in the organization, seeming but the leader, knows something is not working. But I have to tell you, because I've worked with leaders, the leaders know they just refuse to face the facts. They refuse to make the change. They refuse to say I was wrong. I really do think if you're sincere and somewhat apologetic, if you will stand up before your group and you will tell them the facts and what you have learned, and now you have seen things that you didn't see before, we need to move this slightly another direction, or at times you really need to go a complete different direction. But rather than the people who are around you thinking less of you or thinking you're not very smart or certainly not a very good leader, I think you would discover that the absolute opposite of that transpires. People are more readily ready to follow a leader. They're more readily prepared to follow the leader who has a reverse gear, who says, you know, I was wrong. I maybe didn't intend to be wrong, and I wasn't wrong with the facts that I had at hand when we had to make the decision. But we've made some new discoveries. Some things have been revealed that we didn't know, and therefore we're going to go a different direction. Don't be afraid to do that. Find your reverse gear and go backwards. Now, one of the reasons we don't do that is because as leaders, oftentimes we are so wedded to a concept, an idea, a plan, a scheme, a dream that we have, that it's almost so personal that it's painful to go another direction. Just take a time out and allow yourself to be disappointed, to say, it really didn't go as I thought it was going to go. I mean, after all, we're all disappointed. You've spent a lot of energy, a lot of time, and there are even cases when you've spent a lot of resources on something. But wishful thinking is not going to make something happen that's not going to happen. And it's okay. Sit down, have a quick pity party, feel sorry for yourself, make up your mind you're never going to do that again. But as is with anything, you need to make it a learning lesson. But don't beat yourself up for being disappointed. Anything we've invested our time in, anything we've put part of our heart and soul in, we are going to be disappointed if, in fact, it does not work out exactly the way we thought it. So it's okay. There's nothing anyone can say or do, nor any exercise that I can give you to say, if you will just practice this, then you will never experience disappointment. That's just not going to happen. But rather than being disappointed, be glad that you have found, before you got to the final line, you found ways to improve what you were doing. You found a way to do it better, to make it much more effective. And rather than beating yourself up, be glad that you had a team, that you did things the right way, that you could absolutely discover that there were better and different and maybe another way to do it. It is important to pick yourself up, to move ahead. Remember, I talked about the University of Hard Knocks, the school of just picking yourself up, dusting yourself off, and going forward. Everyone has something that gets blown out of the water, a setback because of unforeseen situations or even poor planning. Let's face it, it didn't work out. Well, just own it, make the corrections, make the apologies, take the necessary and needed steps. But above all of that, make sure that you keep moving forward. And if you were a major driver of the mistake, and that oftentimes happens, I have had that happen in my life, frankly, more times than I can remember, and no doubt more times than I'd like to remember. But if the mistake is on you, if you're the one at fault, just acknowledge it. I don't mean grovel. I don't mean quit. I don't mean resign. I just say, my bad, I'm at fault, I did it, I own it, I've learned a lesson. Together, let's cooperate and let's move forward. All throughout any project, you have to continually, especially if you're the leader, you have to be continually analyzing not just the success of a project, but is this thing we are doing, is it in fact really going to scratch the itch that we thought it would? Is it really going to bring the needed change? Is it really going to drive us where we said we needed to go? You have to analyze that. One of the things that I try to do in those situations is I try to write down all the lessons that I'm learning. Am I getting better? Have I learned a lesson throughout all of this? And many times you cannot do this one thing all the time and then forget it, and that's manage your emotions. Because of your personal investment and involvement, you feel this very deeply and very strongly. So it's not just a one time, I deal with my emotions and I move on. It will crop up periodically. Manage your emotions. Don't give in to negative self-talk and say, well, that's just the way it always goes. I can't seem to get it right. Stop that. There's not anyone, including Thomas Edison, when he invented the light bulb, that found 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb. But all he was looking for was that one way. So you have discovered a way that you can't do whatever it is you're trying to do. You're not the first person, nor will you be the last person that's happened to. That is the stuff of life. Just keep moving forward, but with an open mind and heart to learn and to know that at times we don't get it right, and we never at times have all of the information. So just keep moving. Doing and going through these kinds of situations, my leadership friend, is what helps us to develop flexibility and a spirit of adaptability. These things will keep these setbacks, these things that didn't work like we thought, the things that appear long after we're out of the starting gate and we think, why didn't I have this information 2 months ago? I don't know why we don't have it, but you can't simply ignore that you have it now. You have to make the adjustments, you have to adapt, and you have to be flexible. Think about in your life. Anything you plan, from a vacation to a major project at work or a home improvement project at home, I would dare say there wouldn't be many listening to the sound of my voice today who could say that the vacation, the home improvement, the project at work went exactly as planned, that there wasn't something that came up that we didn't see. You plan a certain vacation, you didn't count on there being bad weather. You didn't count on your plane being canceled. You didn't count on getting sick. You have to roll with the punches. You have to change. You have to go. And I think the one final thing on that particular subject that you need to remember is it's never time to quit. Keep trying. When you were a student in school, you had to keep practicing. Those of you who play musical instruments, you have to keep practicing. If you're doing anything else, anything else in life that we attempt, we were not born knowing how to do it, nor were we an expert. We start everything as a novice, as an amateur. We need experience. And a part of that experience is we also know how not to do something. You know, there are going to be relatively minor hiccups along the way. Things don't always work out as planned. And obviously, there'll even be times when there are some major sidetracks, when there are more than speed bumps, there are major sinkholes. And we can't make everything that happens to us a crisis. We can't personally think, well, everyone else just sails through life, never a setback, never a disappointment, never experiencing that the best laid plans don't work. Everyone experiences that. You're not being picked on. Perhaps some of the speed bumps you're going to meet along the way are doing nothing more than helping you to slow down, re-examine, and pay attention, and make sure that what you're doing is exactly what's supposed to happen. Throughout all of life, you and I have to get to the place where we just expect a certain amount of discomfort. Everything is not easy. There is no pain-free life. Pain is inevitable. Misery is optional. There's going to be pain, but as you look back and reflect on your life today, my friend, is it not true that some of the best lessons you've ever learned were in the valley, and were in the trying times, and were in the painful experiences where you really, truly learned? You have to practice if you're doing something new. Now, I know I say as my tagline on all of my podcasts, but I want to make it more than a tagline today. I really want to use it as a piece of encouragement for every one of you. I just feel that there are some of you who have had some heartache, some heartbreak, some disappointments. Things haven't gone well. You're tempted to just throw in the towel and to give up and to say, I guess I'm not cut out for that. I want you to take a step back, even if you have to take a time out, and just really evaluate where you are. And one thing that I believe you will discover is no matter how painful it is right now, no matter how bad it seems right now, things aren't that bad. Everyone experiences this. If you learn something, if you come to know yourself and your circumstance and your team and your family better, then it's been a worthwhile educational/personal learning moment that you will never forget the rest of your life. So, ma'am and sir, today, trust me. You really are doing better than you think you are. Even if you're sitting on the floor in a big pile of broken pieces that you have no idea how in the world you will put them back together or weld them back together. You are farther down the road than you think. It's too soon to quit. And remember, my friend, if I were to walk in where you are today, I would be able to see that you have accomplished something, you have made some progress. All you see is discouragement and defeat. So take it from me, you are doing better than you think you are. You really, truly are. You've been listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today, my friend, this has been like a vitamin or a supplement for your mind and heart. And wherever you receive podcasts from, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, TuneIn, please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom. Pass the word along to your friends, but please leave a rating and a brief written review. I'm going to say it one more time today because someone needs to hear it. My leadership friend, you are really, truly doing better than you think you are. You really are. And until next time, this is Dr. Ron saying, have a great and blessed day.